Yes! Dearest viewers, before commencing this glowing review which will elucidate my vigorous plaudits towards Wonder Woman on multiple fronts, I do kindly request that you take a good look at director Patty Jenkins and screenwriter Alan Heinberg, then proceed to take your hats off to them. Because when it comes to critical performance and fan-pleasing over the course of several years, cinematic entries into the DCEU have proven to be mere plankton in the superhero sea when compared with their superior Marvel Cinematic Universe rivals. With an entire planet laden with skeptical fans, swarms of professional critics preparing to give this film a lashing, and this film being the inaugural live-action adaptation of the iconic female superhero, one would need a brain the size of a pinhead to dare question the colossal scale of pressure being exerted on the shoulders of Patty Jenkins. And against seemingly insurmountable odds, DC have churned out their finest offering since The Dark Knight Rises, and I am fully confident in naming Wonder Woman the finest film of 2017 so far. So Princess Diana of Themyscira, played by Gal Gadot, is born to an all-female race of Amazonian women that were supposedly put by Zeus on this planet to be a guiding light for the human race. Finding her calling in life as a warrior since childhood, Diana defies her overprotective mother, Queen Hippolyta, played by Connie Nielsen, in order to acquire the necessary training. And as fate intends, the magically hidden Themyscira is breached. First by a fleeing American spy, Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, and then by the hordes of German soldiers that are aggressively pursuing him. Outside the sanctuary of Themyscira, World War I has been raging for 4 years. Millions have lost their lives and an armistice is being negotiated. However, a German general named Erich Ludendorff, played by Danny Huston, and his pet mad scientist, Dr. Poison, played by Alina Anaya, are developing a highly destructive gas that could change the course of the war in Germany's favor. Disturbed by the horrors that Steve is relaying, Diana leaves the island in the belief that the violence is being caused by Ares, the god of war and an ancient Amazonian enemy. I think Wonder Woman is about the intrinsic light and darkness that exists within the confines of every human being. Those innate human attributes delineate the real world's multifaceted nature, which happens to be a far cry from the monochromatic good versus evil paradigm promulgated by myths and fairy tales. As much as we all would love to live in a world where evil would be alleviated in its entirety through the means of eliminating one sole nefarious purveyor of darkness, such a world can be described as nothing but a pipe dream because, like this film illustrates, the true antagonist is humanity's own universal evil, with war being one of its most abominable and notorious manifestations. It's because of emotional malleability, greed, and other facets of this intrinsic darkness that drives human beings to kill each other like animals, which paves the way for a loss of faith in humanity. Evildoers have no faith in humanity and use the destructive shortcomings of human beings for their own nefarious agendas. I think Wonder Woman highlights these points to convey a familiar but relevant message about love, faith, valor, and selflessness, and how their combined power generates an indomitable force that stomps all over those of industrialized death machines powered by hatred and all the other devils of our nature. The reason for the high-frequency resonance of this film's themes and messages are sublimely simple: an impeccably paced and cohesive narrative driven by fully realized characters that are brought to life by a talented cast. Gal Gadot incandescently radiates with charisma as Wonder Woman. Gadot embodies a person with the noblest of intentions, but also one possessing a very black and white view of good and evil on account of her upbringing, and this consequently renders her incredibly naive about the moral ambiguities of Steve's world. This superbly constructed collision of worlds and the overcoming of unpleasant disillusionment jointly form the fire that lights the fuse of this film's emotional core. Chris Pine is fantastic as Steve Trevor, and I think his character represents the angels of our nature. To me, Steve comes off as a man who is quite tired of war and societal injustice, but he's also one who remains optimistic. His perplexity, curiosity, and incredulity in reaction to Diana's childlike innocence in the strange world of Themyscira generates humor that resonates on an emotional level and establishes character. And I think that's a pretty welcome alternative to the profusion of one-liners permeating superhero flicks these days. Alan Heinberg's carefully constructed screenplay is a true exercise in cohesion and balance. It simply knows when to initiate action and when to bring it to a halt to focus on plot and character development. The first act establishes Diana's world and, most importantly, her character as a strong-willed person who will not take no for an answer. And the best part? It doesn't overly rely on exposition. Every moment in this film fluidly led to another, so nothing felt disjointed or out of place. Most impressively, everything that happens in this film, whether it's an extravagant action set piece or a funny joke, they are all relevant to the film's story and its themes. I guess my only criticism would be the comparatively bland villainous characters General Ludendorff and Dr. Poison. Though really well acted, their screen time is thinly dispersed and it looks like their only purpose in the film was to instigate trouble for our heroes to deal with. A third villain, who I shall not be revealing feeling emerges in the third act, and even this guy is more well-rounded than those two. However, the manner in which the villains were constructed could have been a deliberate script move in order to make a statement about humanity's own universal evil being the real antagonist. As a man who largely prefers Marvel films to DC ones, not even this review can illustrate how happy Wonder Woman made me. Not only is it a fantastic superhero film, but a great film period, with great performances across the board, exquisite costumes and set design, extravagant set pieces, and most importantly, a cohesive story with an expertly relayed message. Wonder Woman is my favorite film of 2017 so far. Who needs a Marvel and DC rivalry? A great film is a tune we can all dance to, right guys? Now let's hope the Justice League will work as well as the Avengers did. So I'm gonna give Wonder Woman a 9. So these were my thoughts on Wonder Woman. What did you think of the film? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like what I do, give me a like, hit that big subscribe button, stay tuned, and I will see you on the next one.